ChatGPT made a really big deal out of launching search this week, and I wanted to see what it was all about. I wanted to test it against Perplexity. I wanted to test it against Google. I wanted to see what was actually going to provide useful information. I wanted to use a real query, and I wanted to use one that I think would be more plausibly useful for a wider range of users versus something that is extremely high intent and specific. By which I mean, I'm not going to look up the meaning of hyperdimensional space in LLMs. I'm going to look up where are the Huskies playing this weekend. So that's what I did. I looked up where are the Huskies playing this weekend. I did it in ChatGPT's Chrome extension. I did it in ChatGPT's app. I did it in Perplexity's app. And I did it in Google. And I went through and I looked at the lag. I went through and looked at the quality of the results. And I went through and looked at how easy it was to scan and get the meaning back out. So let me give you a breakdown. ChatGPT first. They are very excited about their search. And, Sam Altman himself claimed he now uses ChatGPT twice as much because of search. I tried it both in the Chrome extension and in the app and got basically the same experience. I did not see a difference in time. And what I saw was around a 1-second query response time for something like where are the Huskies playing this weekend. And that is long enough to be noticeably lagged. So you think 1 second is fast when I tell it to you, but in the world of search, it's slow. It then came back with a very short 1-sentence response that was accurate. It directly answered my question. The Huskies are playing at home this weekend, right? Like, it was very clear. Now, what wasn't helpful is that it was not scannable. I had to read the entire sentence to get the information out. And again, you might think, well, you're being lazy. Like, you should read the sentence to get the information out. But if you think about it, Google has actually trained us not to do that. And so we'll get to that when we talk about Google search result. But Perplexity next. Perplexity is another AI-driven search engine. And theirs took even longer than ChatGPT's to the same exact queries. Where are the Huskies playing? So Perplexity comes back in a couple of seconds, maybe 3 or 4. Like it's a good bit longer even than ChatGPT. It's an extremely detailed response. They have figured out the colors of the football teams. They have got, I kid you not, 20 different rows of data on the stats of each of the football teams. It was quite difficult to read the data. It's not numeric data. It's this funny little bar chart thing, like points for, points against by like number of like pixels of bar across the screen. And it is not going to give you a direct answer. I could infer the answer because it talked about where the game was located at a particular stadium, and it was correctly identifying it here in Seattle. That does not mean that it was easy for me to read and understand. It was just so much data on the page. Now, I think that might be intentional. Just like they are going for more data with finance aggressively, Perplexity may be going to be the nerd search engine where you want to go for more data. If I was playing fantasy football, I would look at points for and points against and a lot of other pieces of data to make decisions. Well, I can find that on Perplexity. It's easier to find in one query than on Google. But that's not what I was looking for. It was a very simple query, and it sort of felt like overkill. Okay, last but not least, I went over to Google and did the same query. Google was instantaneous. I'm talking about less than the blink of an eye. I got an answer. It was an answer I immediately understood. And so I could look at it and I could say, oh, they're playing at Husky Stadium. And they didn't use words to do it. They used the way we phrase home and away games in American English. And so if we say so-and-so at so-and-so, like USC is playing at Washington, we mean that they're playing in Seattle. And Google knows that. And Google represents that visually so that you understand it. You have the USC logo, which everyone in college football knows. Then you have a little at word, and then you have the Washington Huskies logo, which is a big W. Great. I immediately understood. I didn't have to be told. I didn't have to read. And so as much as the big players in AI are saying that they have Google on the ropes and they have Google right where they want them, I look at that and I'm like, not yet. You don't have the speed yet, and the representation of information isn't as clean as it needs to be. So we will see. But to my mind, Google has a lot of legs left in it. Okay, one more thing from Google. They are also launching interesting experimental LLM stuff all the time. I've talked about Notebook LM. I want to talk about another conversational mashup that they are launching. This one seems to mash up search with Wikipedia. So essentially what they're doing is they're launching a product called Learnabout, and you can have a conversation about any subject you want to learn about, and Google will write articles on the fly for you about that. It's like creating custom, ever-changing Wikipedia articles about any topic you want. Now, the one catch is you cannot save this. So in Notebook LM, which Google also launched, you can save what you're working on and come back to it later. It's a notebook. Not with Learnabout. You learn about it, and apparently Google then forgets it. So at least for now, keep that in mind when you're using it. That's what we got. All about search. Have you tried search? Have you tried search with ChatGPT? Have you tried it with Perplexity? Let me know what you think. Cheers.